Hi.
Hi.
It's good to see you again.
You too.
Have a seat. So was it easy getting over here today, or did you have much trouble?
It took me a little longer to get over here today. I had to take the bus.
Okay, so you didn't have your husband's car?
No, he got a little upset that I was leaving in the first place, so he didn't want me to take it.
Okay. Why was he upset that you were coming here?
He doesn't know that I'm here, actually.
Okay.
I told him that I was visiting my sister,
Okay.
and he doesn't like her much either, so that's why he wasn't happy.
Okay. Do they not have a good relationship?
He doesn't really like most of my family, actually. So it's a little harder for me to see my sister in general, just because he thinks he calls her a bitch. Sorry about the language, but I mean.
Okay. Well, that seems like it could be very stressful for you not to have a good connection with your family just because of him. Okay, so we can definitely talk about that more if you'd like to throughout this meeting.
Yeah, I would.
Okay. So last time you were here, we discussed about how you're pregnant. Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you have a 2-year-old son. And your relationship with your husband is not very good, and it is abusive, correct? Is that right? Okay. And your children, they used to be in childcare, but your husband got laid off, and so they're at home right now?
Yep, they're at home with my husband.
Okay. How is that going? Is that a problem, or is it...
They seem to be happy staying home with him.
Okay.
So I don't think that there's been many issues with him being the caretaker in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I would much rather have them be in an actual daycare or something, just so that I wouldn't worry about it.
Makes sense. I understand. Alright. And so we also talked about your job. You might have to leave it due to your pregnancy, but you would want to go back to that because you like your job.
Mm-hmm. I love my job, for the most part.
Okay. You're a nurse, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then also you said last time that you didn't have the greatest relationship with your boss, and I was wondering if you could elaborate on that just so I have a better understanding of what that means.
Well, my boss, I feel like he's a little bit sexist, which is hard just in general. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I feel like I'm a little distrustful of men, so that may be why I feel that way. But he is just not always understanding if I need to be late or leave to take care of my kids or something. So I'm afraid that if I have to go on pregnancy leave, of course. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid that if I have to go on bed rest, he might be a little less understanding, and that I won't be able to pick up the same hours that I do when I go back. And that's a little bit stressful because I'm hoping that, I know that my job is the only one that we have right now for income.
Okay.
So he's a pain in the butt sometimes.
Understand. So you're feeling pretty worried and stressed out about him not allowing you to be flexible with your schedule once you come back after maternity leave, or if you have to take off more time due to if there are complications with pregnancy.
Exactly. Okay. And they should be understanding of that because it's a hospital, right?
Right.
But for some reason, I've heard some horror stories about my coworkers having issues in their pregnancy and then coming back, and it's just dismissed, like, oh, you didn't know that ahead of time, so we couldn't work with you. Like, how am I supposed to know ahead of time if my baby has colic and that I don't get sleep?
Right, that can be very stressful because there is no way you can know that beforehand, and they should be understanding of that.
It's a leap of faith with him going in whenever I have to talk to him in his office, so.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there anyone that you do work with who you do trust and could talk to about possibly getting more flexible hours if it comes to that? Is there someone you feel more comfortable with than him who's still in an authority
I have a few supervisors just because my like shift schedule changes so often,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have one who I have a fairly close relationship with, but I mean, they're so busy that it's hard for me to justify going and asking them these things sometimes because they've got a lot on their plate already.
Right.
But, yeah.
Okay. Well, at least I guess it's good that there might be someone you could talk to while you're at work if you ever needed to.
Mm-hmm. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable, especially because I can go to them before having to go to my boss sometimes, which helps a lot.
Okay, that's good. So, if you don't mind, would you like to start discussing like your relationship with your husband, or would you want to talk about your pregnancy or your kids? Is there like something specific you'd like to start with?
I feel like it'd be nice to talk about my son a little bit first.
Okay. So, is he? So he's not in daycare right now because your husband was laid off.
No.
So how is he doing at home? Like when you're around and when your husband's around?
He's a really sweet boy. He's the light of my life, but he's very energetic. So sometimes I want to say acts out, but he's not really troublesome. He just has a lot of energy and doesn't slow down ever. It seems like.
Okay.
So I have my hands full.
Is your husband good with like taking care and like playing with him while he's around?
It's hard for me to know. I mean, obviously, I don't know what it's like when I'm not there.
Right.
But when I'm there, he's good at keeping an eye on him. He'll be in the same room and he'll watch him, but he doesn't really play with him or engage with him. He's almost more of he engages with discipline a lot more.
Okay.
And that can be hard to see because my son's so young too, that if he gets upset about something, he wants to correct it, and he's not necessarily as encouraging as he should be with him.
So you feel that he's maybe being a little too harsh and not enough like compassion and like fun with your son, I guess. If that makes sense.
He should be more fun, especially when my son isn't in daycare. I feel like he needs a little more, playtime, but interaction, because he's not getting that with other kids at the moment. So it makes me worry a little that he might start getting into more trouble if he's on his own and doesn't have like any structure around that.
Okay, that makes sense. So since he's not in daycare, are you doing anything at home with him that's similar to what he would be doing in daycare, or is it kind of just making sure he's okay and making sure he's like playing and having everything he needs?
We haven't really gotten. I guess the daycare that he went to before was more just focused on playtime and stuff like that. But now that he is getting a little bit older, I want to start using like flashcards and like educational videos and stuff. And I just haven't had a chance to get out and get any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But I read a book with him every night before bed, and that's my favorite part of the night.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that helps a little bit, but I want to figure out a way to get him engaged in stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
which is hard when my husband won't be involved in it.
Right.
But,
so is your husband not supportive of the educational materials being in your home?
I think he's just really close-minded about it all. I wouldn't say that he isn't supportive in wanting him to like succeed and be a smart kid. He's just stuck in the Stone Age thinking like, oh, kids can't learn anything at this age, like they don't know what's going on around them, but they absorb a lot more than you think they do.
Mm-hmm.
So when he yells, I know that they hear that, and when he swears, I know that they hear that, but for some reason he doesn't think that talking like about the alphabet will help at all. So I kind of forgot what your question was, but I hope that
No, that makes perfect sense. It seems like you're kind of frustrated with the fact that he's more involved in disciplining the kids rather than like either playing with them or teaching them something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, he focuses on why would you do that, blah, 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 but won't teach them not to do something. So it's just backwards logic.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what is it? Prevent and prepare, don't repent and repair. That's
I like
that's
that.
a good motto.
That does make a lot of sense. Alright, so... Okay, so if you don't mind, would you want to talk about your relationship with your husband specifically?
Yeah,
Are
I
you
think it might be
comfortable
good
with
too.
that? Okay, so how about we start off when you, like, how did y'all first meet and, like, how long ago was that?
Well, we've been married for 5 years, but I've known him since I was in high school, actually. I grew up in a small town, so I'm happy to be in a little bigger of a city now, but he was a football player and a jock and kind of one of those people that like you stereotypically think peaked in high school. And he's still just as handsome as he was when we met, but he's not the same. He doesn't seem to like have as much fun as he used to, and I feel like we've just kind of lost a lot of the spark that we had.
Okay. So what exactly did it look like when y'all were like really good and having good like communication and a great relationship when it first started out?
He used to be such a romantic, and he would make breakfast in the morning and bring me food, and I don't know, he seemed to be a lot more happy and enjoy spending time with me, and that was really nice to have and something to like look forward to when I came home. And yeah, he, despite not liking my family, he kind of filled the void of not being able to see them a lot because he was really engaged when it was just us and we didn't have a son.
Okay.
And I'd say that probably lasted for 2 years of our marriage, and then I got pregnant and things started to change a little bit.
Okay. So you feel like he was very engaging and really, really cared about you at the beginning of your relationship, and then you got pregnant and things started to change. So do you have any indication of why he started to change due to your pregnancy?
I mean, it's really hard to tell, but I feel like he just kind of stopped having fun. Like, I don't think there's much that has changed about me or my personality when we had the baby or when I got pregnant. But I mean, of course, I was pregnant, so maybe I was hormonal and just didn't know. But I think he used to just enjoy coming home a lot more, and maybe I started being less fun when I got pregnant. I don't know.
Okay. So was there any abuse that happened before your pregnancy that you can recall?
We didn't always fight a lot, but when we did, he has a very explosive temper. So whenever something did set him off, it'd be Armageddon, like end of the world, just like yelling and throwing things, and I want to say he's a passionate person is a good way of looking at it, but when he goes off, and that became really hard when it started happening more often.
Mm-hmm. So it's hard because he seems like he has a big temper and like a short fuse.
There's just no talking to him when he's upset. Like, there's no reasoning with him. He won't listen to me at all, and it's even worse when he gets jealous, which he's been doing a little bit more. And it's not like there's anyone else in my life. I work all the time, but he'll get jealous and accuse me of like, oh, like flirting with a coworker, or like, why are you wearing that tight sweater when we go out? Like, who are you trying to impress? And it's just like, I think he's almost delusional. Like, these things aren't happening. I'm not cheating on him. It's nothing like that. But when he starts thinking that, he just runs with it.
Okay. That could be very, very annoying to deal with.
It is.
Especially when you're actually not doing anything wrong whatsoever.
Right. Like, I'm being honest with him and telling him, like, oh, like obviously, like, I'm not flirting with them, and he just won't believe me. So I've also had to stop telling him if, like, oh, they said this really funny pickup line. Like, I have to avoid that conversation, which has made me actually less honest with him, which is painful because it's so backwards that we would have such a good relationship in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, like, he'll get jealous over nothing, so he can't be a part of that, and that's it's just so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He's an idiot. Like, why? Like, why would I be in a marriage with you if I was screwing around with other people?
Right, that makes sense. So once you did become more like, maybe not physically violent, but like emotionally violent, due to the jealousy and maybe the pregnancy threw him off a little bit. Is there any way you could elaborate on the abuse that you felt, maybe verbally or physically?
I think that the verbal abuse is something that I hadn't really thought of before. It kind of, I guess thinking about it now, it definitely crept up on me. Like, I didn't realize that him being so jealous, like I said, would turn out to be emotionally abusive, because for me, like, at first jealousy can be flattering. Like, oh, like, you're afraid that someone's going to steal me away. Like, that can be a nice thought, but as soon as it turns into, like, accusing me and he would just make me feel dirty. Like,